Hi everyone, it's Ann at Martin House Flowers. It's Labor Day weekend, and in today's video, Greg and I are working on some projects around the greenhouse. He has been wanting for some time to dig up some wiring and dig up and bury some wiring for our greenhouse. If you followed me previously, he had installed a 220 volt heater in the greenhouse after several attempts of getting the right voltage of heater for the greenhouse last winter. And since fall is around the corner, we've definitely learned about the 220 volt, and we do also need a 110 volt, which is basically the power source that most of us use or familiar with for indoor lamps, and most of our electrical indoors are 110. So I do have grow lights in there that I want to be able to plug in, probably not until January, but we will likely not fully heat the greenhouse over the winter because electrical is just so expensive to do. But anyway, today that's what he's working on. I'll include some footage of that. And I also have a project along the, let's see, that would be my east side of the property, where my hostas are and a few of my endless summer hydrangeas. So I've got a potential project. Haven't decided when I'm going to tackle it, but I wanted to talk through that project today, get your opinions on it. And I do have a new hydrangea that Barb was able to order for me. Barb at the Garden Market in Sycamore. As you know, she's my friend that has a shop, a plant shop and nursery, small nursery that I sell my cut flowers at. So she ordered for me the Proven Winners. Let's see, what's it called? I'll bring you over to it so you can see which Let's Dance series it is. And I wanted to sort of talk through where I'm going to plant it, and I will get that in the ground today. And we also have a couple of Pinky Winky primes that I shared in my last video that I'm going to get in the ground. Greg is going to be hopefully able to dig those holes for me because they are 3-gallon pots, and we're going to plant those behind the crabapple tree in our north facing backyard. So thanks for joining me today. It's basically a day full of little projects, and I thought I would share that with you. So hope you guys are having a wonderful Labor Day weekend. So here is the Proven Winners Let's Dance Rhythmic Blue hydrangea, and it's a reblooming big leaf hydrangea that needs at least 6 hours of full sun, 4 to 6 hours of part sun, and less than 4 hours of shade. So it should be able to handle the exposure over here. I have a hedge of little limes along this fence, our neighbor's fence, and then I have 3 firelight tidbits around the corner here on the side of my greenhouse. And so I'm thinking about this spot over here because I normally have containers with my container of my Alberta spruce topiary. So it supposedly can handle some sun. It's another, I think, 3-gallon pot that I think I'm going to attempt to dig up here. And it does have some burning on the leaves, but I'm not concerned about that because a big leaf hydrangea usually grows off of new wood and old wood. And in this case, this particular hydrangea, the Rhythmic Blue, says that in terms of pruning, it seldom needs pruning after flowering. So you don't even need to do a lot of pruning on big leaf hydrangeas. Needs moist, well-drained soil, spacing 4 to 5 feet. It grows 3 to 4 feet tall, and wide. So that's actually a perfect size for this location. And it's a reblooming hydrangea. It's compact, it has vibrant color, and it's easy care. And the blooms are, the season of interest is summer and fall. So let me take you to the spot, the other spot over by the side that I'm talking about putting some hydrangeas in place of. I don't know if I talked about it. Not sure if I talked about it on video, but I do have a bunch of hostas that are getting burned from the morning sun. We get morning sun, afternoon shade on this east side of the garden. So I was potentially going to put a couple big leaf there, but I think I'm leaning towards the firelight tidbits along the side here because I do have some big leaf endless summer there. So, but I think this is the spot where I want it, this rhythmic blue, because I just took out the one container that had snapdragons, and that's the beauty of containers. You can move them around, and this being somewhat compact, this is almost full size. I think this is a good location. I do have a few dahlias over here, which of course are temporary because I will have to dig them up in my zone and they will not overwinter. Dahlias need to be dug up in my zone 5B. So who knows whether I want to put them back here. This is Joey Winnie. They've done really well over here, but I can definitely move them over. There's probably a good, even with this in place, there's a good 3 to 4 feet along here. This whole bed here could get wider if necessary, but this is a good 7 foot width here that I think there's enough room. So let me take you over to the other side. I might have to wait till it gets a little shaded, but I wanted to talk through my plans over on the east side. Before heading to the east side bed, let's take a look at the bed by the greenhouse. Here is the side of the greenhouse where I do have some scabiosa that looks like it's struggling again. I just replanted a second one there. My turtle head that is a fall bloomer. Look how gorgeous that is. And then the firelight tidbit. 3 of them I have here that are a compact panicle hydrangea that I'm really happy with. They didn't bloom last year when I planted them in June, but they certainly have bloomed out this year, and they're doing really great, and they are sort of a version of the little limes that are across. And I'm going to show you what happened to the little limes up close after our rainstorm. Hopefully you can hear me okay. There's construction going on inside that house. They're working on the interior now. But last year I did a beautiful fall wreath with these. This is the perfect time for little limes to be cut if you want to bring them in to dry or make a wreath or some kind of craft. I'm going to make a wreath, or sorry, I'm going to make a basket arrangement for the front door. And it's a perfect time when they start to go a little bit rosy like this, and they're starting to dry already. But as you can see down the middle here, these 2 or 3, even though there was sheltering from the greenhouse, that rainstorm just came down, and for the first time in their 4th year, these little limes over here got trampled by the rain. It's almost as though some animal trampled down the middle, but I'm quite certain that it was the storms. So I looked up the pruning that Proven Winners recommends, and I've always followed the 1/3 rule, pruning 1/3 off of panicle hydrangeas in the spring, and I do wait till I see some buds of new growth coming. These grow on new wood, and so typically I don't prune until the spring. And this year I didn't even fertilize these. I just ran out of holly tone and decided that they didn't need it. They were established. And I don't really regret it, but I definitely am planning to do a light pruning in fall, probably late fall. Proven Winners recommends that when you're pruning in the fall to wait till the plant has gone dormant, and that means that most of the leaves will have fallen off. And typically I leave these blooms on here for winter interest. They do turn brown, but I do want to not encourage more snow to trample on here this winter if we happen to get snow. So I think I'm going to trim some of these lower hydrangeas that are overflowing across the edge, over the edge of the bed. And we do widen this bed every spring. This year I don't think we did. As you can see here, we probably have close to 8 feet between the two beds, and so there's room to come out at least 6 inches in the spring, which we might do. But I definitely want to prune back a little bit and experiment pruning in the fall, those lower ones that are falling over. So I'm going to do that. So Firelight Tidbit, Little Limes, I think they're a really nice combination, and we have, I didn't want anything larger than a 2-foot hydrangea because I didn't want to cover up our beautiful stonework, the foundation of the greenhouse. So let's go over here. I guess today's all about hydrangeas. This is a lace cap hydrangea called Twist and Shout. As you can see, there aren't any blooms left because they browned so easily this year. I wasn't thrilled about that, and I think I definitely fertilized this. I did a video on it. I fertilized all of my big leaves because I like to give them a little bit of a boost that hopefully will give them some blue chances to go blue or purple. And I used Holly Tone. So there's a bloom here at the end of August, early September. That one's not too bad. It looks quite green on my camera, but it's pretty, I guess it's lime with a touch of rose in there. And again, I usually leave all of these until the spring. Big leaves, you don't need to prune very much. And also too, you don't want to take next year's blooms. There are going to be blooms in here for next year, so we don't want to touch those. So just to give you sort of the placement of things, 2 Twist and Shout lace cap hydrangeas. This big, beautiful hosta is usually really blue in the spring, and it's gotten a little bit fried, as you can see. But I'm okay with this one here. It gets a little more shade, as you can see here. When the shade starts coming across usually around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's already that time. So I guess it's later. We're just getting more sun as the summer, peaks. But definitely in the fall and spring, we get more shade and just early morning sun. So this is my only shaded area in the garden. And I really envy those that have more shade because I love hostas. And this was honestly the first bed one of the first beds we planted along at the same time as we planted our foundation hydrangeas. I call them the foundations, the 10 or 11 little limes there. We planted these hostas just from a big box store, and same with the Endless Summer. And I am so disappointed in how they've gotten really fried. So I want to replace especially these 3 and 3 more over there. So six hydrangeas, and they're supposed to be compact, variegated. I don't know the variety, but let's go up close. I'll show you what I'm talking about in terms of getting fried. So I've already cut a lot of these back, but look at this. We've had cool evenings, but that is just heat stroke or just, sizzling from the sun. So, and it gets a lot of bug damage. And yes, I did not do Sluggo this year, but I'm kind of tired of them. They weren't a huge investment. I just got them at the local Menards, and you can even see my begonias, how teeny tiny they are because there's just too much sun, not enough shade here. And yet this is my only partial shade, afternoon shade part of the garden. So there's the same same hosta as that hosta in the corner, but because it gets more sun on this side versus that side, it is much smaller. So I definitely want to pull out 1, 2, 3, and 4 hostas, and I think I'm going to do 3 of the firelight tidbits here, a panicle that can handle more sun. These are the endless summer. 1, 2, 3. There's one in the center of that, or just in front of that obelisk. I did have a rose back there, and the bunnies ate it. And this year I went in with chicken wires, you can see. And I grew some sweet peas in the spring. So look, there's some new blooms. So endless summer, this in the first couple years used to get fried in the morning, and then when the shade hit it, it would perk back up, and it definitely needed a lot of water in the first couple years, but it's more established now, and you'll see some of this, signs of fall on the leaves, but they're doing pretty good. So I did consider doing Rhythmic blue over here, and honestly the best spot for it, because even though they say these big leaves, these Let's Dance series can handle full sun, my experience with Let's Dance Lovable, here's one here that I tried to save. I used to have 5 of them in front of the birch tree over there, and then I replaced them with Let's Dance Skyview, and the 5 did not overwinter successfully this spring, so pulled those out, and now there's Nepeta. And so there's one, just trying to recover over here. Supposedly can handle 6 hours of sun. And anyway, so these are the other 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 actually that I want to pull out. Whether I wait till spring is one question, or whether I do it this winter. I think if I can get my hands on some, I might plant them this fall. But here's the pulmonaria that I pulled out. They were planted in between these hostas because I thought there was room. These were really compact at one point, and there was actually at least almost a foot space between each. But now they've filled in. I don't mind if hydrangeas fill in like a hedge. That's sort of the whole idea. But I'm not happy at all with these variegated hostas, and I've had them for 4 years, so it's time. You can see in this one where it was supposed to be a variegated hosta like these, and yet it's gone green. I just hate this look of getting fried, so they're definitely coming out. And the pulmonaria, we'll see if I did widen this by at least a foot, this bed, this spring. I did a video on that. We'll see if I need to move those in the spring and plant one over here, one firelight tidbit, maybe 2, and then 3, and maybe leave this for just another perennial, like a shade perennial, part shade perennial, and then leave these 3. If you follow me, I was thinking of doing a Rhythmic blue here and a Rhythmic blue over there, but I'm really worried about it struggling with this much, the intensity of the sun. So I think I'm going to stick to panicles on this side, on each side of the big leaf endless summers. So I think that's the plan. Not doing it today because I don't have my panicle hydrangeas ordered yet. And this one I think I'll keep because it is beautiful in the spring. It does get a little more shade, as you can see over there with those. So there's a perfect location. This is a perfect location for big leaf hydrangeas. Greg is over there. Let's see what he's done. Let's see the hole he's dug. He's taking a break because it's pretty. He started when it was sunny, and we're going to get shade over here anytime now, which is when I'm going to dig over there so that I'm not drenched. And my allergies are so bad this time of year. So there's the trench he dug. So Greg did some research on the depth that he needed to dig for the conduit. and what he needed to get it to code.
It needs to be 18 inches deep. And got to run the line through the conduit, get the conduit in the trench, and then cover it with a couple inches of sand, and then a warning tape on top of it. And then you can bury the conduit.
So that makes it code.
Yeah, and that way someone's not digging, they don't cut into the electrical line and get electrocuted.
So Greg is going to follow code and cover the conduit with sand and before he buries it back up. And we know obviously that there is wiring under there and wouldn't dig, but if we were to move one day, we want to make sure that someone doesn't dig and potentially get electrocuted. So this area here where we have this damaged sectional, this is what's left of a sectional I had that basically got weathered. Most of that wicker does end up breaking down, and the cushion is still in good condition. So we've kept it for the summer, but we're obviously killing some grass underneath there because I have plans this fall to, once we remove that sectional, to bury. Greg wants to put gravel, continue this gravel path all the way to, oh, where he put the edging there, roughly placed. So we're going to gravel to here, to the corner of the greenhouse. Sorry about the shade or the sun. But I want to have an area of about 12 to 18 inches away from the edge of the greenhouse to the edge. Just plant a bunch of bulbs that I have been saving. All these bulbs that I've been saving in the garage, and I'll just put them in there and we'll just gravel to the patio from there to there and see if they come up in the spring, just to see if they're viable. Container bulbs are never good beyond the first year of blooming, but sometimes you can let them dry in a cool, dark place like a garage in a paper bag and then replant them the following fall, which is what I'm planning to do. And we'll see if they come up. So just to show you the sun exposure and shade, it's now just after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we have a good about 8 feet of shade along this east side of our garage. So we've had several hours from, I would just say roughly 8 a.m., 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 6 hours of sun, which is what the big leaf hydrangea suggests, that it gets 6 hours of sun, which it would get on this side, and then the rest of the day it's afternoon shade. But as you can see, these hostas get so scorched. We're talking about what to have for lunch when we are trying to work out in the garden and dig. It's always a big debate. So I'm waiting for this shade over here to slowly creep over to this side. There's shade over here. Greg had to move my topiary. So he's digging from this side over here, the trench, because that's where the electrical box is that connects to the house. So as you can see here, my potting bench at 2 o'clock is now fully shaded, which is nice because this is when I can water and work on the side with some shade. I'm very grateful to have this little area, this little work area where it's shade. And the greenhouse has a little bit of shade right now, but it will pretty much get full sun all day for the rest of the day. But at this point, the sun is just sort of moving over. But yeah, and Greg had to move my workbench area to the middle just to be able to access the electrical box. according to the specs, it says that it is 3 to 4 feet tall and wide, so it will potentially grow another foot. So that would be potentially another 6 inches over here and 6 inches over there where the dahlia is right now. But next fall, obviously, or next summer, I won't plant that dahlia there. I can move it over. So and I just realized that even though the east side is shaded as of 2 o'clock or even before that, so that's 6 hours of sun, this is getting at least an hour or so more, so probably 7 hours of sun. And this says 6+ hours of sun, 4 to 6 of part sun and shade. So technically it would do just as well. It would get more shade on the east side, but for some reason I think there's less intensity here because we've got this container, we've got the greenhouse, and but obviously enough sun based on the dahlias doing well, especially at this corner. There's a difference of even, amount of sun based on the being a few feet away, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and put it here because I think I'm set on doing some kind of panicle hydrangea on the east side to replace the hostas. The roots of a hydrangea are really fine, as you can see here. It's kind of amazing how fine they are considering the size of this plant. But they look healthy. I'll take this tag off before I plant it. I think I can dig the other 2 holes. It's the same size, I think. 3-gallon pot. It's the sod that I have to get through on the others. The Picky Winky prawn. I'm going to put a little bit of biotone along the edges. Fill it back in with the soil. The original native soil. Clay, which obviously hydrangeas are totally fine with because I think I did a count. I have 39 hydrangeas. So this makes 40. Yeah. Then when I add 3 more on each side, that'll be 6 more. I'll be up to 46 hydrangeas. Huh. Not nearly as many as Eric and Christopher on. Gosh, I love their garden. Grow with me gardening. Love their garden. They have half an acre or 3/4 of an acre, half an acre, and we have a third. So we have some resemblances in the types of plants, but they definitely they plant, to my 40 hydrangeas, 30 to 40 roses, 30 to 40 hydrangeas, they go to the max. Like, I think they're up to 200 hydrangeas, if I'm not mistaken. More? I don't know. My husband would kill me if I planted that much. So there it is, all planted up. So you can see there's at least a foot to the path and lots of room to the right, because next year that dahlia, it's full grown for the season. Next year that dahlia, I won't plant it that close. I can still leave a container back there. This container, I was thinking eventually I would move or plant this spruce into the ground, but for now it's okay. It lasted last winter. I could move it back a little bit, which I might do because it's right against the hydrangea now. But you see these almost like burn marks? I think that's just fall. And a lot of times nursery pots are watered overhead in nurseries, and that causes that kind of fungal disease that might be the case here, or black spot. A lot of it, just like on roses and dahlias, a lot of that is caused by excess moisture on top of the leaves. So it's always important to water under. So I think I'm going to go ahead and try to plant the other two. I'm going to go ahead and cut some of these burnt leaves off, just so it doesn't look so bad. And this is where you're going to get new buds next year. After planting the big leaf hydrangea, I planted the other two Pinky Winky prime panicle hydrangeas. They weren't too difficult to get into the ground after all. After digging the first hole, I was okay to dig these other holes on my own. That was actually easier than the big job of joining these beds now, because we wouldn't want Greg to be mowing all around all of these trees in addition to mowing around those hydrangea trees. So basically I started edging today. It's Monday, Labor Day. I started edging and joining 8 trees. 6 of them are evergreen and 2 of them are the deciduous, excuse me, the lilac and the crabapple tree. And that is quite a big job, as you can see. So Greg jumped in and helped me for about a half an hour in between his electrical work by the greenhouse. And we then decided to grab the cardboard we've been saving in the garage, but unfortunately there wasn't enough to completely cover all of the sod. So both girls, our 18-year-old and 13-year-old, jumped in and helped out a little bit with digging up the sod and turning it over. But I was exhausted by the end of the day. I had been digging pretty much all afternoon, and I'm just going to have to show you the end result in another video. But here it is, joining that corner bed that I had planted with you a few weeks ago when I planted the first 1 gallon Pinky Winky prime, and these are larger Pinky Winky primes that will grow 9 feet tall, 6 to 9 feet tall and wide. So there's the heart-shaped bed, now joined to the it's a Black Hill spruce, and we've joined the bed here with the hydrangeas and the crabapple to this Fat Albert, and then we will also join this Fat Albert to the other Black Hill spruce at the end. Well, that was it for the day. I'm going to have to share with you the end result in another video.